Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiakos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I gonna sign or no for Olympiakos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω, ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα ρε μαλάκα!
Σ' αγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gate 7 International Podcast. I'm your host for the night, Kostas Lianos, Kostas with a K. Sometimes you see me here, sometimes you see me at the Sun. And this is my first ever time hosting Gate 7 International without supervision. Ari, Costa, Labro, wherever you are, thank you for this. I can't wait to star in Lubin. But you know what? That's all fine and dandy because I got backup tonight, and I got some huge backup. And it's my esteemed friend and colleague, Martial Debo, whom you can find at Olympiakos FR and at La Nouvelle République. Martial, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm cooler than I was right after the game because I was kind of pissed off after the loss. But yeah, I've cooled down, so I'm happy to be there, and I'm happy to discuss the topics we are going to discuss with you tonight.
Absolutely. It's so good to have you over, Marcial. And as you said, we have a lot of topics to cover. But as our good friend Ari says, some housekeeping first. Guys, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell for the notifications. The podcast is growing. The Olympiakos International community is growing. As you know, we got 4 hosts here from all over Europe. We got Greece, we got the UK, we got France, America. We got 2, one of them from Maryland, one of them from Hawaii. We're being watched from every single continent in the world, you know, Marcial. Bar Antarctica. I'm not sure if we have anyone in Antarctica, but I wouldn't be surprised. So guys, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe right here. Spread the word. We keep growing, and we are so happy to have you all in this amazing journey. Now, a little word from our sponsors. For those of you that may be looking to ship, whether you're shipping from the United States, from the UK, from Australia, anywhere in Europe because you're trying to move to Greece or anywhere else, then give our friends a call at Piraeus International. They can handle all of your transshipping needs internationally, whatever it needs to be, wherever you got to go, then get in touch with them on www.piraeusintl.com. That's their website, or call them on 410-675-4696. And guys, obviously, BetUS. Don't forget about that. If you want to bet along with us, then use our promo code GATE7INTL at betus.com.pa, as you can see it underneath. Share your bets with us. We will give you guys a lot of insight that will help you make better bets. With the World Cup coming up, we have some fun segments planned as well where we can help you make bets and hopefully help you guys make a bit of money. Again, the promo code GATE7INTL, and you can use it at betus.com.pa. We also put posts on socials with a link that will help you take you directly to the page you have to go to, and you can enter the information there. And I think this is the point where I can stop being so positive, right? Because, there it is. We experienced another miserable defeat to Nantes. We lost 2-0 at the Georgios Karaiskakis. A sorry way to bid farewell to the Europa League, Martial. If we take things from the top, Mitchell started with a very different team, lots of seconds, with a 4-2-3-1 formation, it seems, with Kostas Tsolakis in goal, Thanasis Androutsos at right back, Marios Vrousai on the other side, Alexis Kalogeropoulos and Panos Retsos teamed up at center back, Pierre Kounde and Andreas Bouchalakis in midfield, Josh Bowler starting on the right wing with Aboubakar Kamara on the left, and Youssef El Arabi playing a number 10 or moving forward to play with Juan Guijo. An interesting first half with some impressive performances by some unlikely heroes. Those were Androutsos and Bowler doing really well down the right wing together. Marios Vrousai did so well on the left as a left back. It was so good to see that, after all those Oleg Reabchuk's master classes or not. Alexis Kalogeropoulos, such a good performance at center back, didn't look like he was 18 years old. And Youssef El Arabi, as well, kind of rolling back the years, could have had a couple of goals if it wasn't for Camara and Huang being so woeful. And then the second half came in. Some questionable calls by Mitchell, was probably thinking about Panathinaikos, bringing Vrsalik on for Vrusai, and then bringing on Sabouzis for El Arabi. Vrusai and El Arabi were doing so well. And there were no attacks in the second half. Just anything we saw in the first half just faded away in the second half. And Olympiakos conceded late again from Mostafa Mohamed on the 79th minute and Ludovic Blas on the 90th minute. Martial, I'm going to stop talking now, and the floor is all yours. How did you see the game? What are your thoughts?
Well, as you said, I think the first half was very not very interesting, but was interesting because I wasn't expecting that from the team, and probably that with a striker, another striker compared to Rijo, it could have been 1-0, maybe 2-0, because the first situation with El Arabi giving the ball to Camara and then Camara making a very poor choice, it could have been the 1-0 on there. And then I think Rijo had like 2 or 3 situations where he could have pass better, because you can see that it does not know how to play with his teammates, and it's kind of a strange thing because he has been there since the beginning of the summer. He played like 15 times with Olympiakos, and I can't remember apart from this past Yanina's game where I was in the stadium and I saw him like assisting Pep Biel. It was the only good situation he has with Olympiakos, but as you said, also Androutos, I really liked what Androutos brought on the right side along to Bowler, because both of them, they wanted to prove things to Mitchell. They wanted to show that they can offer to Olympiakos. And even Vrusai, well, Vrusai as a left back is a very, very strange choice, but he somehow knows to defend, and also he knows to attack. Like he claims for the ball nicely, like he overlaps between his winger, and those are things that Ryabchuk does not really do, and I don't recall Ryabchuk doing that. And also I think you speak about something very interesting, because I have the impression that Mitchell made change that weakened the team. Like when he brought Marcelo and Versalico in, well, the team was worse after that, because with Vorusai on the left, we had a situation on both sides with him and Androutos being very forward, playing forward for the most of time. And Marcelo came in and he played like I don't remember in which position he played. It could be a 6, an 8. I don't know. It looked like Michel tell to Marcelo, like, go in and play wherever you want. I don't mind, because it does not matter. And I think the team got weakened after that. And maybe Michel, he should have gone at 100% of his project tonight. Like, he plays the B team, play the B team in the full game. Like, do not use the 5 subs, because with the current Olympiakos, I think the 5 subs are more a bad thing than a good thing. Under Martins, for example, in the Greek league, with the squad Martins had, and with the confidence we had, we barely could lose with the 5 subs, because we had a way better squad than any other opponent. But right now, the team is so fragile, man. Just don't use the 5 subs. Okay, if you wanted to rest El Arabi for Sunday, okay, then take El Arabi off. But yeah, you change the center back because Kalirogeropoulos was injured. You change the midfield. Sapunzis wasn't really not good, because it would be hard to say it wasn't good tonight, but it's still the beginning for him, and maybe it was too early to throw him in again like that. But yeah, I think Mitchell kind of failed on that, because Nantes started to be to threat the Olympiakos at the end of the game. And yeah, so that's why I was disappointing, because we had the game under control, even with the B team, and we ended up losing game because the main reason for that is mainly psychological, because we do not know how to win in Europe this season. We did not win against Haifa. We did not win against Limassol. We did not win against Bratislava. We did not win against any opponent on the Europa League. So we just don't know how to win a game in Europe this season. That's the point for me. That's the conclusion.
What do you make, though, about Mitchell's lineup? Because we talked about this a few days ago, that it would be a better idea if he rested some players, especially the key ones, because Sunday's match against Panathinaikos, Martial, that is a must-win right there. There's no other way around it. Olympiakos have to win this. And if any key players like Pepiel or Huang Inbom got injured, Pepiel already carries a knock. That could be disastrous for Olympiakos. So obviously he went for quite a weekend side. Got a lot of players that didn't get any opportunity started tonight. Personally, I wanted to see Marcelo start to see if, because when he came on against Lamia, Olympiakos became a lot more dangerous down the left flank. I wanted to see him start to see if there was a way of bringing him in against Panathinaikos and bringing more threat. But instead, Vrusai started, and I liked what I saw. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind if Vrusai started against Panathinaikos. So I think a nice little lesson came out of it, a nice little takeaway. What do you think about the lineup?
Well, I agree with you, because my opinion on Marcelo is that is almost, I think he's done. Like he won't start more than 10 games for Olympiakos until May, because he just can't do that. But if you do not start him tonight in a game that does not matter, well, he won't start on Sunday. The risk is too big to start it on Sunday, and the fact that every time he came on it's to be a winger, it's to be a midfielder. It worries me, because he wasn't brought for that. Like, European football, Greek football is not a joke. You can't play a player out of position just because he won like 5 Champions League. It won't work. And also the thing that I wanted to say is that players like Vrusai, they can't play every 3 days, because if you ask a player, like, do you want to, they prefer to play every 3 days rather than training and wait for the whole week to play. Vrusai was able to play 90 minutes tonight and to play again on Sunday. And so that's why I do not understand what Mitchell did as a subs, because Vrusai at halftime, I think it was sort of at halftime, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it was halftime. Exactly halftime.
Just look what Versalico did when he came in. No, it's not possible. This team needs stability. This team needs to have a defense that at least for one game does not change. But it wasn't possible tonight. But just keep someone, if he's playing well. Vrusai is like Masouras. Like, he can play. He could play maybe every day, because he's in a good age. He has a good physique and stuff like that. But on Marcelo, it's becoming I don't know the word in English, but I think for Mitchell, it's becoming a problem. Like, what to do with Marcelo? Everyone is going to ask him what to do with Marcelo, but for the moment, he can't play Marcelo against Panathinaikos. But also, he can't play Vrusai as a left back when he has Marcelo and Reabciuk, because imagine if he throws Vrusai on this game on Sunday and we ended up losing. Imagine that. How does he keep the locker room after that? It's impossible.
I mean, let's look at a few comments. We got a few questions and some comments coming in. First question: what happened to my beautiful beard? Well, it had to go, man. I had a haircut. The beard didn't match it, so Parizaf, I had to get rid of it. And thank you. I haven't been called a young man in almost 15 years. Thank you so much for that. I got a few questions here. TF91, guys, I go straight to questions. Do you think Androutsos and Bowler played well and deserve a second chance? Also, I think Wijo is the worst striker in history of Olympiakos. Well, actually, Martial did some player ratings today, so maybe that's a perfect question for you, my friend.
For Androutsos, it's not a player I would like the club to push away from Olympiakos. If he has offers, I wouldn't mind letting him go. but it's not the kind of guy you resigned because he loves the club. He knows what it represents. He can play in different position, and I think he won't complain if he's not playing. Like he's not the guy that will ruin the locker room if he's not playing. And it also is not Fortunis. And I say that because no one will talk about Androuchos, why Androuchos is not playing, what Androuchos is with the B team compared to Fortunis' situation, for example. So I think he can stay because I'm not expecting anything from Androuchos, and he also can play at a midfielder and as a right back. So it can be useful because Versalico is always injured, and Avila can't play back-to-back games because otherwise he will get tired. And coming to Bowler, I would say the same because Bowler cannot play for a third team this season because he already played with Blackpool and he played with us. So if he leaves Olympiakos, the only option for him is coming back to Blackpool and
Nottingham.
Yeah, but he won't be able to play with Nottingham because he played with Blackpool once and he played for Olympiakos. So with what he did tonight, well, why not keeping him on the roster? Why not using him more in the league? Like he's left-footed, he can dribble, and given the fact that Masuras is being very, very average since weeks now, it wouldn't make any sense to let Bowler go like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the list of players that has to leave Olympiakos, there is like 10, 15 names before Bowlers, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. How did you find Juan Guijo in this game? As you can see, everybody's loving Juan Guijo tonight.
The worst thing is that I had quite high hopes about Guijo when he came because it was interesting with Bordeaux last season because Bordeaux was a tragic team and he ended up scoring like more than 10 goals in a very difficult championship. But the thing is that we have to stop bringing players that does not want to be in Olympiakos. Guijo needed like 2 weeks to be convinced to come to Olympiakos, and it's just not possible. You know that it won't succeed because it's like Conrad de la Fuente. Those players they didn't want to come to Olympiakos at first, and you can smell it, you can see it when they play. Compared to Valbuena when he came, even if he was like 35 years old, compared to Al Arabi, compared to Inbeom, for example. Inbeom in the first game, you clearly saw that he was happy to be there and he was willing to offer his best for the club compared to Guijo, because Guijo was probably dreaming to play in England or staying in France or stuff like that. But I wouldn't surprise if he goes to another club and stop scoring goals because you know this club better than me. Like you know that in Olympiakos the context is more important than the rest, and some players they can't cope with that. And I think Guijo, every game he plays and every game he does not score, the problem get bigger, and he does not have the psychology to turn this around. Like probably he needed to score tonight to turn things around. Maybe Mitchell would have said, okay, Guijo, he can do things for Olympiakos. But after tonight, I think it was his worst performance for Olympiakos because he had like 90 minutes and he wasted so many situations, so many situations.
That is true. I mean, with Juan, when Olympiacos, when any team signs a new striker, it's very important for them to get that first goal in as soon as possible. Like, is it their first game? Is it their second game? You get a penalty and the game is already won. You're 2-0 ahead and you got 5 or 10 minutes to go. Let them hit it. They need to break their duck as soon as possible. And it's November now. Juan hasn't scored a goal. He reminds me a lot of Dani Garcia Lara from back in 2006. If I remember correctly, and he got his first goal in the league in February or something. Like, it was obvious that his psychology, as you said, was damaged. And I can see the same thing with Juan. Like, he just cannot break his duck, and this is becoming very very stressful for him. Not all strikers are like Harry Kane or Son Heung-min, who, especially Harry Kane, he needs his time every season. Pretty much, he needs time to score, to break his duck. But that's Harry Kane. Usually, a striker needs to get their goal within their first 3, maybe 5 games, and here we are with Hwang, and he's still looking for it.
Yeah. The striker situation is pretty much the same for a lot of strikers, especially when they come to a club with high pressure like Olympiakos, because the game in Yanina, when he missed the tap in, he was like very close to the goal and missed that. Like you knew at that time he was going to suffer from that, and I was like, oh no, I know this situation so well. I know that how it will turn for him, and unfortunately, it was the same for De La Fuente after Volos. Like you can't recover from that in Olympiacos, especially if the team does not have results. Like it's terrible because the striker situation costed us so many things this season, because El Arabi, he missed so many situations in the whole summer in the qualifier, and then Wijo came to fix that, and he did not fix that. And the thing is that Bakambu fixed that in the Greek league, but he could not play in Europe, so we ended up being stuck in this problem. And without any striker, you can't win in Europe. You can't go through a group in Europe, even if the group is with Nantes and Karabakh and Freiburg, which is not the most difficult group we have faced until now. But yeah.
People are loving Josh Bowler, though, after tonight. I mean, here we got from Concept Calcio. I said before that Bowler should have replaced Gary last week. Well, I mean, Bowler is definitely so much quality in this player right now. I mean, he's English as well. I mean, he comes from a rough school in England. I mean, he stood out with Blackpool. People have even compared him to Jared Bowen from West Ham. Nottingham Forest and many other teams wanted to sign. Nottingham got him. Nolan Leidner-Fox says Bowler is our best winger. He must play. Here we have another one from TF91. Bowler should get more chances. I gotta say, after tonight's game, I think Bowler needs to get more opportunities. Personally, I feel like he stood out. I feel in the first half he gave Nantes a lot to think about, gave them a lot of problems. With some really good runs, good dribbling, had a few shots. Big game coming up right now in Olympiakos. One thing they don't have is a good winger, especially now with Gatti injured. And Gatti doesn't really have any product, and we don't know how bad Gatti's injury is. I feel like Bowler should be the kind of winger Olympiakos should get behind for the rest of the season. They got him for a season. Nottingham want him to come back strong and want him to come back to come with more experience, with better mentality. Why not go for him?
We are in a situation anyway with 10 points to recover. So Michel, he has to take risk at some point. Otherwise, if he plays Masouras in Leoforos, we pretty much all know how it will end up. Like Masouras missing chances, Masouras running with no product at the end, as you said. And it's the same for Gatti, because I think Gatti is a good player, but just remember, I think it was against PAOK when he came in, when he played against PAOK. So many times he had to just. I remember a situation where he had an easy pass to the striker and he missed that, and you realize that okay, that's pure Gary Rodriguez thing. And with Bowler is different, because tonight, like I remember him winning some yellow cards by dribbling. He was running past defenders. He has something different. I'm not saying he will fix every problem we have with the winger situation, but he's left-footed. We do not have that much left-footed players apart from James Rodriguez, and he knows like to dribble and to create something on his wing. And with the situation the team is right now, I think we barely have no choice than play him on Sunday, because I think it's time for us to take risk. Otherwise, we are going to lose everything.
Just a small little thing here, Marcial, from Lakis Gavalas. people seriously believing that Bowler is effective. The guy's a joke only for exhibition games. I mean, obviously, Bowler is a player that still needs more build, still needs some more development, definitely. But he showed something in the first half. We're not saying that he's the answer to Olympiakos' prayers. What I'm trying to say is that because of his performance in the first half, and despite his lack of minutes and game time, I feel like he brought it in the first half, and I think it'd be very interesting to see him playing next to the likes of Pepiel, James Rodriguez, Cedric Bakambu. And Olympiacos don't have any other quality wingers, really. They got Masuras, who he is a results kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that will get you what you want on the pitch on a good day, but he's not really the kind of guy that's going to bring pace. He's not really going to bring that explosiveness. He's not going to make the opposing defenders really get worried. So all I'm saying is with the explosiveness the likes of Pepiel, James Rodriguez, and Cedric Bakambu bring, I feel like it'd be interesting to see how Bowler could do with them. And I mean, how many options do we have against Panathinaikos?
Yeah, I was going to say that the whole Bowler debate is Bowler against no one. Like the only player that could go into that comparison would be Masuras, because he's the only one that can play at this position right now. Otherwise, Rodriguez is injured, Conrad is out of the group, and I don't see Vruzai coming back at his winger position for this game. So to me, apart if unless Mitchell tries another system on Sunday, I'm pretty much sure that Bowler will play either as a starter or as a substitute, because the only way he wouldn't play would be us to win this game like 3-0 and not needing any offensive solution to come in. But we need more threatening player, and Bowler at the moment is probably the main threat we have on the winger.
I agree. Well, Europa League is over for Olympiakos. This is the first time Olympiakos go out on the group stages since 2018, since their worst ever Champions League performance with 2 points against Barcelona, Juventus, and Sporting Lisbon. This is completely different because it's the Europa League. This is Nantes, Karabakh, and Freiburg we're talking about. Not a single win. Not 3 losses at the Karaiskaki. This has been really rough this season. We're talking 0 wins within 90 minutes or extra time, 6 draws, 6 losses in 12 games if you put in together the qualifiers against Maccabi Haifa, Slovan Bratislava, and Apollon Limassol. Olympiakos have scored 8 goals and have conceded 21 goals. This is definitely a season Olympiakos want to forget. This has been disastrous. Marcial, thoughts?
So many things to say, but I think we realized this season that winning a game in Europe, either it's a qualifier or a group stage game, it's very difficult. And the fact that we entered the Europa League campaign with no win was already a big I don't know the word, but it was a very difficult situation for Olympiakos because we didn't had this confidence. For example, we had with Martins when we went back to the Champions League, because for example, look at Karabakh. The main difference between us and Karabakh this season is the confidence they get during the summer. And us, we changed the coach in the summer. We brought so many players, and like it's just not possible to build something on a basement that is so shaky. And the late goal we ate in Nantes also for the loss in Nantes was pretty much the last hope running away, because it gives them the confidence they had until tonight. Because Nantes, I can tell you, because I'm French and I watch Nantes every week. Sorry, if we have won the game in Nantes as they won it, like with a late minute goal like that, I'm pretty sure we would have topped this group maybe, or been second, and Nantes would have been the last of the group, because all the confidence they would have in Europe would have gone away like in seconds. And I was in this game in Nantes, and at the moment we conceded this goal, I was sure at 100% we wouldn't be able to bounce back from that, because the psychologic were destroyed at that time, and you can't win any game in Europe with psychologic. It's not a matter of level. Obviously, we have a lot of players that are disappointing. They don't have the level to play in Olympiakos. They don't have the level to be in this club and stuff like that. But the main issue is psychologic. Like, look at Cisse when he came in. Is this really Papa Boussisse, the Papa Boussisse we know? How good he was last season, like scoring a brace in Nofikret, winning us a game on his own. Like, it's mainly a matter of psychology, because there is no way we would have lost 2 times against Nantes, which is probably the not the weakest, I wouldn't say that, but it's a team that went to Europe through winning a cup, not through the championship. But we have saw on those 2 games which is the more confident club between Nantes and us, and it's clearly not us.
Well, basically, I mean, let's see. Why has this happened? Why have Olympiacos experienced their worst European campaign since 2018? Well, we said it last year, Marcial. I mean, here we were saying how important it was for Pedro Martins to go in the summer, not be awarded a new contract. We were talking about this after Olympiacos were eliminated by PAOK in the Cup, which that was the final drop, really. I mean, his time had gone by. He just didn't have it anymore. It was kind of like Arsenal with Arsène Wenger, when, 3 years before he actually left, it was so obvious that his time had ended. And him, as well as many people at Arsenal, refused to see it. Same with Olympiakos. And I said it here on the podcast, guys, it can get really bad in the qualifiers. And it did. Olympiakos experienced their most embarrassing defeat in Europe against Maccabi Haifa since 2004, when they lost 7-0 to Juventus in Turin. And then they brought in a manager who should have joined Olympiakos in May, because he's a project manager. He's the kind of manager that's going to take the team for a summer preseason, bring the players he likes, get rid of the players he doesn't like. He came in too late. He was doing everything on the fly. He was putting Band-Aids everywhere, and that led to some embarrassing defeats to Freiburg, Aris, and a really bad draw against Volos. And then in came Mitchell, a manager who, yes, did extremely well at Olympiakos, but let's face it, he had a great coaching staff by his side. And then he struggled everywhere else he went. And here we are right now. Some really, really bad decisions made in preseason. The key one being that Olympiakos kept Pedro Martins. And basically, then Olympiacos created a team that was put together by 3 different managers. I've never seen that before. This is a team that's been put together by 3 managers. Josh Bowler, he came in during Carlos Corberan's reign, and now Mitchell has to find a way to get the most of him. And now he just threw him in and saw that, hey, maybe we can get something out of this player. Marius Vrusai wasn't even supposed to be on the team because Mitchell axed him during the summer preseason. He never went to Austria to train. This is quite a chaotic. This is quite a chaos going on at Olympiacos that I've never seen before. So I guess, Marcial, my question to you is: how do you explain this chaotic situation, and can you see this being overturned by the end of the season?
I think my main explanation would be, it's time for the club to understand how difficult qualifiers are in the summer, because it's our reality right now. Every season we have to go through 2-3 games, 2 or 3 legs probably of games. So this being said, we have to anticipate way more the situation, like and this is why this campaign have been a disaster, because nothing was anticipated this summer, starting with Martins renewing. But I wouldn't put all the blame on Martins, because yes, the preparation he did was probably tragic, because we can see like so many fitness issues with the team. But I think we weren't able to bounce back from all those late goals we conceded against Haifa, Haifa in Israel, the late goal we conceded. We conceded a late goal in Bratislava, and we conceded one against Limassol at Karaiskakis. And those 3 goals, if you take them away, it's 3 wins out of 6 games in the qualifiers. And the whole picture is very different, because all those players I saw a comment saying that the players are washed. Like, oh, okay, they are disappointing, but they have the level uh, to being at least second of this group. But as I said before, it's just a matter of psychology. We did not win any game in the whole summer, and after that, it was just not possible because no team was created during the whole summer. Like Martins, he played friendlies with Avram. Avram, he retired later in the summer. It makes no sense. It changing. The CB pair changed in every friendly at halftime. Like it was Socrates with Manolas. It was Socrates with Ba. It was Socrates with Cisse. It was Cisse with Manolas. Like it's just not possible. And choice needed to be made. Like, okay, we sell Cisse right now. We make room for Manolas to be pairing with Socrates because it was the plan maybe at the beginning. And those small choices the club has to make, they weren't made. And we ended up bringing Corberan in a difficult situation. And yet we gave Corberan players he asked for, like Bowler. And we all know how this club works. Like it reminds me of Asi bringing all those Belgian players, and those kind of coaches they last 10, 15 games, and after that you have players that came to Olympiakos for those coaches, and they are like, okay, I don't play anymore because the coach don't want me, and I don't know. There is no one explanation to this disaster, but those are small steps that leads to this. And tonight, the main issue is that on the psychological aspect, this team does not know how to win a European game, because the first half was good. With Martins at this peak, we would have won this game easily, for sure.
Absolutely. Guys, just a really quick note. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to this show. Obviously, this is a difficult night, but we really appreciate you being with us. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get all of your notifications and everything, all of our content related to Olympiakos, your number one source for international fans who support Olympiakos. So please do, guys, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. And we're going to keep bringing you all the best we can from the website. I also saw that comment you mentioned, Marcial, about the players being washed. I think it's this one right here that you meant, from Nolan Liner Fox. How you keep blaming Martins after months of being away from the squad? The players aren't good enough. Only a few are good. Rest are washed. We're not blaming Pedro Martins. All we're saying is that Martins' time had passed. It was so obvious that it had passed. And it was obvious that Olympiakos needed to make a change. They stayed with Martins mainly because of nostalgia and the fact that he brought all this success. Don't get me wrong, Pedro Martins is a club legend, guys. Pedro Martins is a club legend, but his time had come. Olympiakos didn't decide to pull the trigger, so they stayed with him, and then all of a sudden they realized that his time had passed after the European qualifiers in July, if I'm not mistaken, and that was way too late to bring a manager to turn this tide around. I mean, the damage had already been done. They brought in an inexperienced manager who was more of a project manager. He brought in his own players while putting in band-aids everywhere. And then he wasn't good enough. Suddenly, they brought in another manager. He brought in the players he wanted while putting band-aids everywhere. Mitchell is managing a team that was put together by 3 managers. That's why this is happening, in my opinion. I mean, the chaos makes sense. The chaos has logic. It is unacceptable. It is unjustified. But this is the situation Olympiakos are right now. They're still doing everything on the fly. They're still putting band-aids everywhere. And this is the situation, guys, really. I mean, there are some players Mitchell can build on. I wrote this blog the other day that Juan Ginbom, Pep Biel, Cedric Bakambu, and James Rodriguez are the players that always need to be at the starting lineup. Those are the players you build from in this incredibly inflated squad. And here comes a very, very big game now, Marcial. I mean, this is the season decider. Like, this is it. Olympiakos are playing rivals Panathinaikos this Sunday at Leoforos. Panathinaikos high flyers, obviously, have won all of their first 10 games. We haven't seen a strong Panathinaikos like that since 2011, really. Favorites to win the title, absolutely. Olympiakos are 10 points behind. And the truth is, Marcial, if Olympiakos don't win this, title is gone, really. This is it. That's it. End off. If Olympiakos won Champions League from then on, it's really second place that they can hope for. What do you think, actually? Do you think that if Olympiakos don't win this Sunday, they can even hope for the title?
It's a very tough question. I would say no, because coming back from a 13-point gap, it's something that probably requires 20 games, maybe, because it would mean winning like 5 games and Panathinaikos losing 5 games at the same time. And we know that it takes so many times to bounce back from that, even if we have the playoff to play after that. But my main worries about the championship for me is more AEK than Panathinaikos, because I see AEK going longer in this championship and with more arguments to prove. But on the other end, every derby we have played against Panathinaikos in the last 2 or 3 years have been the most difficult game we've played in Greece by far, because I remember losing to them in Leoforos. I think it was last year we lost to them. And you clearly see that despite the difference of quality between both teams, they knew how to play games like that, because it was the season's game for them. And it will be the season game for them, because if they win that, I wouldn't say the title does not matter for them, but they would have won like 11 games straight with a derby on it. And that's where I'm worried, because I wonder if the team we have right now is ready to face what they are going to face in Leoforos. Like the majority of this team we have right now is coming from 3 titles in a row, and they probably faced hostile situation in Leoforos in the past, because the derby is always a derby, no matter the situation of both teams. But they did not face a derby when we had to win so much, so badly to still being alive. And I hope the personality of players like James Rodriguez, like Paybil, if he can play, or like El Arabi, like Bakambu, will speak on the field, because this is what we need. We need that more than any tactical system. We need that more than everything. That the personality of the player we have, which is the best personality of all the league, needs to speak, needs to express itself, because it's my only hope that we ended up winning this game, even if Aitor is injured, even if Panathinaikos has a lot of weaknesses on this team. But let's see what happens. But it depends on the period of the day, because at some point I'm optimistic and I'm okay. It's really possible we win this game, because we have Rames, we have Bakambu. It's Panathinaikos. It's not a big team. Like the players aren't that good. But on the other side, I'm starting, when I see, for example, the first goal we ate from Nantes tonight, I'm like, okay, I could easily imagine Panathinaikos scoring the same goal in our defense.
Well, we are being joined by one of our fellow hosts tonight, Marcial, and that is none other than Kostas Levogiannis, Kostas with the C. Guys, kids finally asleep. Olympiakos European nightmare finally ends. 0 goals at home this season in the group. 4-0 Maccabi, 3-0 Karabakh and Freiburg, and 2-0 tonight. Says it all. Never again, and he means it, because he's using capital letters, as you can see. So Costa is not playing tonight, not now that the kids are asleep. And he comes back with, we need to stop buying marquee names at twilight of their careers. Valbuena an exception. Trust in our youth and academy. The days of Rivaldo, Giovanni Carembe, etc. are over. Guys, if you want to see Costa joining us tonight in the flesh, then start pressuring him on the comment section. If you all keep saying Costa join, Costa join, Costa join, maybe he'll actually join us. You never know. Weirder things have happened. Marcial, one thing that really, really bothers me and worries me is that it's November and Olympiakos haven't won a big game yet. They haven't beaten a big team. They didn't beat anyone in Europe. They have lost both of their derbies, if you count Aris as a derby. Do you think that causes trouble in the players' mentality? Like, do you think there's a chance there's a locker room that thinks, we just can't win a big game? Do you think that they feel like, this is a big game against Panathinaikos, the biggest game of the season? Can we win this? Do you think how do you think their mentality and morale is?
Well, it's very hard to answer because I think that there are two teams on the squad right now. The team that have been playing in the Super League recently, and the team that has played in Europe all season. The team with James, Bakambu, probably Samaseku also has the psychology to win this game in Panathinaikos. The whole team, including the European players, are more worried about that. But you're totally true about the fact that we did not win any big game until now, and probably maybe if we break this curse on Sunday, it will unlock so many things, because the game against PAOK, it's the most you see it again, like the weirdest it gets, the fact that we did not win this game. It reminds me the PAOK game we lost due to the Vukovic on goal, if you remember.
I remember that very well. But it was obvious that something was being built then.
Yeah, a game that we should have won like probably 4 or 5-0 at that time. And I'm not saying the PAOK game we should have won it easily, but man, we were the only team playing football that night, and we somehow lost that game. And so I think that the it's the same about the league and Europe. It's just a matter of psychology. The Aris game we lost in Aris, we were leading that game, and PAOK, as we equalized that game, and we ended up losing game, and we just can't keep a result, and that worries me against Panathinaikos, because imagine if we are 1-0 for Olympiakos and Panathinaikos put the pressure during like half an hour. I'm pretty sure we will end up eating a goal in the stoppage time, and I think it would be the worst situation for us, like not winning in the stoppage time compared to losing like 3-0, because if we lose big time on Sunday, you're pretty sure that Marinakis will fire half of the team. But if we are close to a win and we ended up drawing on the last second, like the damage would be worse. And I would like to answer to the comment of Lakis Gavalas.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it depends of the World Cup Cissé would do with Senegal, because if he's good with Senegal, the price could go up. But I'm not really worried about Cissé sale, because I'm still thinking he's a good defender. It's just with the personal situation he has earlier in the season, it reminds me of Madi Camara. About Madi Camara 2 last season with Olympiakos, like he had to go earlier, and it's the same for Cissé. So maybe 6-7 million, between 5 and 7 million, I would say the price would be a fair price for Olympiakos. Mm-hmm. We are not going to sell Cissé more than 10 million unless Senegal goes to quarterfinal of the World Cup with a wonderful Cissé in defense. But I think it's time for Olympiakos to downgrade the expectation in terms of sales, because you can't sell a player more than 10 million from the Greek league right now, unless it's Tsimikas, unless it's Podence with the Mendes connection. So let's see.
Well, to be honest with you, though, I do feel confident ahead of the Panathinaikos game. It is a huge game. It is the biggest game of the season. It is a make or break. If Olympiakos lose, that's it. The title is definitely done. That's it. The 13 points. Are you kidding me? Title is done. That's second place you're looking at after that. But the development, the improvement is there for everyone to see. Even tonight, the first half was really good. Olympiakos could have scored 2 goals against a strong non-team who were playing hard to finish second. They weren't disinterested. They were very interested in this game. And obviously, Bakambu wasn't playing, James wasn't playing, Samaseku is a really good player, and he should be involved in Leoforos. I'm confident that there's something could come out of this. And like you said, it's very important to win because this is going to unlock a lot of things. Olympiakos are going to get a lot of confidence and morale. Panathinaikos are going to lose their first game. So the Lion will continue fighting for the rest of the season with quite a significant injury. So we don't know what that's going to do to their morale and confidence. I don't know. Maybe someone we know could help us with that. None other than my namesake Kostas is with a C, Costa Levoyanis. Costa, we did it. We managed to bully you into joining us.
Oh no, I was going to congratulate you on making sure that everything's running smoothly.
Okay, now you can go.
Okay, yeah.
Come back, you crazy man. So tell us opinion about the Nantes game and what do you expect with Panathinaikos now?
I expected nothing from today's game. I think Nantes. I was surprised at how poor Nantes were in the first half. I don't know if it was because we were good and they were so bad. I think the fact that Blas wasn't in the team, it was a big miss for them in the first half. But overall, I thought first half, despite fielding a heavily rotated team, I mean, we had more than 65% possession at times during the first half. And I was quite, pleasantly surprised by that. I thought the four Greek boys at the back did really well. Retsos had a bit of a shaky start, some poor passes, but he grew into the game. Kalogeropoulos looked like a professional that had been playing for a long time already, not like an 18-year-old green kid that had never played a European game in his career. And Androutos looked like he was up for it tonight. It's like this. I don't get it with this player. Like he's played a game like he's played tonight. It's not fantastic, but put in a couple of good crosses. He made some good challenges. He's caught a little bit out of position on the first goal, and Blas has created an overload on the left-hand side and he's unmarked. He puts a cross in and, that's 1-0. But overall, no, like the first half, there are positives to take. And then, we took off the player with the most quality in the second half. El Arabi comes off and he was really connecting the midfield with the attack and bringing Aboubakar Kamara into the game, trying to get the ball to Weizhou Huang. And I think from the moment he came off, the game was kind of over. There was no way the ball was getting forward. I guess you guys have talked a lot about Josh Bowler as well. I thought he was quite good in the first half. I think out of all the players that haven't been playing under Mitchell, maybe he's one of the most that can feel the most aggrieved. But I did listen to his post-match comments, and he seems like a very down-to-earth, like serious professional. I mean, he said, he's putting in extra hours in the gym and he's ready whenever the coach wants to use him. And he wasn't arrogant or, seemed hard done by. So I expect to see more from him. And, okay, we lost 2-0 on the night. I think you guys read my comment out. It's a season. It is a season on the one hand that we want to forget, but on the other hand, we don't want to forget it because we want to remember how bad it was so that we make sure it never happens again.
I mean, let's go. I mean, guys, I'll be honest. This makes sense, what happened this season in Europe. Horrible preseason, horrible decisions were made. A completely different team playing in Europe, a completely different team playing in the league. This is not the real Olympiakos who got eliminated. Not the real Olympiakos has Bakambu, has James, has Samaseku, has a completely different style into their game. There's logic in this, in what happened, especially tonight, because they were playing their seconds. But let's not be mistaken. What happened this season in Europe is disgraceful. It's an embarrassment. It's a humiliation. And Olympiakos, I've said it many times in this podcast, should be aspiring to be the Bayern Munich of Greece. Of course, they're never going to be as good as Bayern, never. But what I'm saying is they need to find a way to separate themselves from the whole Greek league thing. It's Olympiakos and everyone else. And the reason why they could do this was because of Europe. The fact that from 13 out of 15 attempts, they always made it to the playoff phase of every European competition. This is disgraceful what happened. Olympiakos' identity is on the line after what this happened. Next season is going to be crucial, especially with Christian Karebe coming out and saying Olympiakos should be in a final one day. I don't care what happens in the league this season. If Olympiakos don't finish second, okay, they finish third, they finish fourth, whatever. I expect them to go to the quarterfinals of the conference next season. I'm not kidding. Olympiakos need to regain that European flair. They need to regain their European identity now after this shit show of a performance. I like to be an optimist, and I like to call a spade a spade. I like to admit that what happened now makes sense. There was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of drama, bad decisions in the summer that Olympiakos are now paying. It's getting better. We saw it against Nantes in the first half. We saw it against Karabag and Freiburg in the return fixtures. Now we have to see it against Panathinaikos, guys. And I'll be honest with you. If Mitchell doesn't beat Panathinaikos and then doesn't beat AEK, in my opinion, I think it's maybe time to let him go, because I don't think Mitchell is the guy who can rebuild the team in this condition. Bring in a manager for the rebuild. Call a spade a spade. This is it, guys. We tried, we failed. We need to think about next season. We need to rebuild for next season. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. Because if we end up losing both derbies, it's like we can't even speak about the second place, because AEK would be like at least 7 points ahead of us, and I don't see a world where any coach in the world could win back 13 points to PAO and like 7 points to AEK with the current team he has at Olympiakos. And I mean, if the season is done after at the AEK game, I wouldn't mind to keep Mitchell, because he would play academic kids all the way up until the end of the season. And this is the only thing that matters, like to make Endoy good enough to be a starter next season, to make Kalogeropoulos good enough to be a starter for Olympiakos, to have Mvila and Imbeon playing like 15, 20 games along together in the midfield, to have Bakambu playing 20 games straight until the end of the season and stuff like that. This is what we need right now. So I don't mind if Mitchell can stay until the end, because there is no coach on the market that could be the miracle signing that we were expecting probably after Martins. But it's all a matter of psychology. The most time we wait for a big win in the game, and the most time we will be in this situation, because as soon as this will unlock on this team, I don't see anyone being able to stop Olympiakos. Just look, James in like 4 or 5 games, how many goals he was involved in. And it could be the same with Pep Biel. It could be the same with Bakambu. It could be the same with Imbeom if he's able to play back-to-back games and stuff like that. Even Pachalakis, when he came, he made almost a clean sheet at every game. So we have some points on which we can rely, but it all depends on the fact that the team needs a big win. And if it's not Sunday, it's never.
What do you think, Costa?
I think at this point, I kind of agree with Marshall. I think more or less said everything that needs to be said. Sacking Mitchell, probably not the solution, although I can admit that people will be calling for his head.
Oh, yeah. After AEK, if he doesn't beat them, yeah.
Yeah, but then what? It's basically back to it's basically back to the season where we ended up with Lemonis coming in after Hassi, and then Lemonis leaving, and then the Spanish guy coming in,
Oscar Garcia.
Oscar Garcia, and then Vuzas taking over for a game, was it? And then Christos Kodis.
That was Garcia.
Yeah, there's not a serious manager that will take the job as the fourth coach of a season. Even my wife was asking me today, is like, who's that on the bench? Isn't it the guy that you guys asked a question to in the press conference anymore? So he left ages ago, sweetheart. And she was like, oh, what happens there? Did they change coaches every couple of weeks? It's like, well, I think he lasted longer than Liz Truss in the UK, but
he did. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah. So I like Martial's logic too. If anything, Michel's got balls. Like, he's not afraid to put the young kids in. He showed it previously with like Vergos at Old Trafford was an example. Okay, regardless of what happened to Vergos and how his career ended up, like, he's not afraid to go and pick kids out of the academy and give them their chance. So
yeah. Thanks, Costa. Give me a chance.
It's not so much that like he's the man for the job, like, but I think that if he doesn't beat Panathinaikos, if we don't beat Panathinaikos, if we don't beat AEK, then I think there needs to be a discussion had with the board whereby they tell him, look, all right, stay until the end of the season, and they start looking for the next manager for the next season, and do what they did with Martins. They want to know who the manager is in April, May, and the manager has a chance to watch the team, get to know the squad, and then come in ready to take us from preseason and rebuild, whatever you want to call it.
The question I have. I asked myself the last time is it worthy to win the title with I don't know to say that, but if we ended up bringing like 3-4 big players in January with no real future hope for Olympiakos, but just for them to win us the title, is it worthy for Olympiakos? Is it sustainable to win the title at all costs, or rather to focus on probably using all the disaster we have done until now to prepare for a big comeback, if I can say that, later the next season with, for example, Endoy as a starter, with Kalogeropoulos in the lineup or near the lineup, and to find a solution to build something more sustainable for the future. Because I know it's very difficult for Olympiakos to say we are not really interested on winning the title, because it always matters. But what worries me is that I'm fearing that Marinakis will want to win the title at all costs, and I kind of agree with that. But sometimes it can block some progress we have made. A bad situation, sometimes it's the perfect context to launch new players, because we have no other solution. And I'm stuck in a dilemma sometimes, because I want us to win the title because we need that. It's because we are Olympiakos and we should always aim for the title. But we have won titles that did not produce anything after it, because it was not sustainable, and that's my fear. That, for example, if Rames wins us the title and he ends up leaving for elsewhere, like, would it matter for Olympiakos to win it like that? That's my question.
I feel like there is a bit of panic going on, especially because Nottingham Forest are also struggling in the Premier League. I feel like the best what they're looking for is a balance of what you just said. Like, yes, win the title at all costs, but also build something for the years ahead. And we're seeing it with Andreas Doi, with Kalogeropoulos coming in today. I feel like there's a balance that they want to achieve. Olympiakos always want to look forward to the future. They always want to build the team of tomorrow. But winning the title is always important, the number one priority for Olympiakos. It has been like that since the days I became an Olympiakos fan, during the Sokratis Kokkalis days. So yeah, I do believe Olympiacos are fully focused on winning the title. We saw it against Nantes tonight when he started the seconds. Basically, a completely different team than we would expect. No Huang, no Biel in the team. Biel, obviously, we know that he has a knock, and he's probably not even. Mitchell will have to make a late call on him playing against Panathinaikos. I feel like that's what Olympiacos is trying to do. They're trying to find the balance in all this, but because the squad is so inflated, and because a clear out is in order, and because, well, let's face it, we don't even know who the manager is going to be next season. I feel like there is a big question mark in there. But to answer your question, I feel like there's a balance that is trying to be achieved by Olympiacos in that regard. What do you think, Costa?
I don't think the solution is bringing more players. I mean, the manager was pretty clear about this as well when he joined in his press conference. Says he want to work with 24, 25 players. I have a question back to Marshall. Who do you think we'd be looking to bring in if we were going to bring in more players? You think like an experienced centre back, or I don't know. I really like. I think we have to settle. We have to settle the squad. No more signings. But like when you think about it, what positions do you kind of think we would go for?
You mentioned the center back, and I'm pretty sure that it will be the main target. And we need a center back because apart from Doi right now, I don't see someone being able to play consistently at a good level because every center back we have, like Retsos, is always injured. Socrates is aging, and both Spa and Cisse, I love them, but they have concentration issues, and they probably do not want. They probably want both to leave, so they both needs to leave, and that's why I was saying with blocking some progress we have made, because if we ended up bringing a top center back, maybe Endo we will play less, and that's my fearing. But I agree with you that we need. I think we don't need any signing. If only it depends on who leaves the club on January, because we probably will need a striker if both Wijo and Camara leave, and someone to play the third striker, unless we bring Ali Gadgets or Bar from the B team. And also that's the point I wanted to say, because I think it's Lakis that say that Kalogeropoulos had cramps early in the game, but we have to say that the B team hasn't played a single league game since ages. So, well, that's why the task is very difficult for Mitchell, because he does not have a lot of players to bring in, fresh player to bring him in the first team. And I'm worried about what Marinakis has in mind for January, because we all know how this club works, and every time we have a problem, the solution is to bring more player in, and I'm afraid of that.
The culture is there indeed, but like I have to agree with Costa. Like, there's so much content in this team, so many players. There is a lot of qualities. The quality players, those are quality players. They just still need to gel. As I said, we found 4 players in Bakambu, James, Huang, and Biel, who are the kind of players that can be the backbone of your starting lineup. And I'm glad to see them starting in the last few games. I feel like that's if Olympiacos bring any players, they need to be tweaks. Just like in every January transfer window, you just need to bring some tweaks. You can't bring difference makers. Costa, do you have a rebuttal so we can move to man of the match and the coach's grade?
No, the only thing that I would say is that the one transfer move that I would be open to would be a winger, like a really good winger. I think that if an opportunity arises to sign a winger that can like really make the difference, we like to say in Greek, I think that's the one that I would take. At centre back, I think we have so many.
Yeah.
We still don't know like what the centre back pairing is, although Socrates and Doi at the moment seems the most stable partnership that we have.
Experience in youth, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope that that's the partnership that we go to on the weekends. because there was some talk about Cisse. As much as I love him, I think he's done. Like, he's come full circle and needs to move on. So yeah, that's the one window that I'd leave open if we find a good winger, because we don't have a winger. We play Biel on the right and we play Masouras on the left. Neither of them are natural wingers. The only natural winger you have is Josh Bowler and Conrad de la Fuente, who's never going to play again.
Never.
Never going to play for Olympiakos ever again. I saw some people giving shit to Josh Bowler, like, oh, why are you blabbing on about Josh Bowler? It's not like we're talking about Josh Bowler as being, wow, he's amazing. But he's the best winger that we have in the roster. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if you're right. I don't know if you're right. You're not wrong. But I don't know if you're right.
Defy anyone in the comments. Do we have a better winger than Josh Bowler?
It's just that we haven't seen much of Bowler as much as we've seen from anyone else.
Just on this point, because like I know when he started playing and he came in under Corberan, he'd get the ball and he'd dribble at 3 players, and then instead of cutting the ball back, he'd shoot at the goal in his first game. I remember that's like, what are you doing? It's like decision making. It's one of those things. But today he put in a mature performance. I think he clearly understood that, all right, this is an opportunity for me. And he didn't overdo it. Like he ran at people, and when he ran at people, he ran with pace. And the only way to stop him was to foul him today. It was the only way to stop him was to foul him. And like his passing was quite good. Like he was accurate with his passes. He played the ball into space. Like, no, he's got to play more for me. You've got to see more from him. Gary, okay. Gary, could be our best winger, but he plays 2 and then he doesn't play 5. So not reliable. He's not reliable to the extent that you forget that he's on our team. That's the thing with Gary Rodriguez. Can't rely on him. Sorry.
Well, Josh Bowler did do very well tonight. That is definitely true. But what about the man of the match, guys? Marcial, shall we start with you since you did the player ratings?
I would say Androuchos for me, because it's my choice would be between Androuchos, probably Koundé in the midfield, but the choice would be Androuchos or Bowler, but I would say Androuchos because he's playing out of position, and I have to say, as much I don't want to see Androuchos as a right back anymore after the Androuchos Lala competition we have had in the past. But what Androuchos did in the first half was better than Versaliko did since he came for Olympiakos. I have to say he was good in defense. He was trying to attack. He was offering solution and stuff like that. So I would give him the man of the match, but it is a man of the match by default, if I can say that, because no one was really man of the match for Olympiakos tonight. It has to be.
That is true. That is true. What do you think, Costa?
I think Weizhou Huang was worse of the match.
Domenico was better, I have to say.
God damn, like the one transfer that we broke this summer, Weizhou Huang's coming to Olympiakos, we broke the transfer. Can you at least like score a goal, do something? No, I'm so disappointed with him. Like, and just to end the whole Josh Bowler or Gary Rodriguez thing, because some people are saying, oh, I didn't say if we can rely on him and who's the best. I said, for me, it's like Gary Rodriguez doesn't exist in this squad. He's that unreliable. But point taken, fine. Who's my man of the match? Yeah, Josh Bowler. For me, hello to Dora on Tour as well. Go and check out his podcasts for your Nottingham Forest updates. And by the way, like there have been hundreds of people like tuning into the channel tonight. and we still only have around 37 likes. So for fuck's sake, not threatening anyone, but it takes 2 seconds and less to click the button, hit the like, and then that helps the channel to actually get out to more people. It really helps us, guys. So if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, just to finish up, Josh Bowler for me gets my man of the match, but it's not really saying a lot. I don't think, like Marshall said, I don't think there was really anyone really stand out in a 2-0 defeat. Shout out to Androutos as well, first half performance in particular. And Vrusai, like he played some really nice balls from the back, like some diagonal balls in behind to the attackers. It's more than we've seen from our regular starting left back all season. Like the 3 or 4 passes he made forward today. And coach's grade.
I will get there. We'll get there. Let me
let
me chip in with that. Well, I agree with both of you. Like Androuchos did really well, Vrusai did really well, Bowler did really well. I agree mainly with Martial that you can't really find a man of the match from Olympiakos, but I really liked Kalogeropoulos. He did not play like he was 18 years old. Some really good positioning, really good marking, really good mentality as well. His head was very much into the match. And after his injury, when he came off, that's when Olympiakos really crumbled. So I'm going to give it to Kalogeropoulos personally. As for coach's grade, well, Costa, you're more keen, so go ahead.
Probably a B- for me. B-. I think it was ballsy what he did today, even though he kind of didn't really have a choice, because the priority is the game on Sunday. I think he gets a B- because I don't really understand why he took Vrusai off in the beginning of the second half.
Maybe he's saving him for Panathinaikos.
Yeah, maybe. But also just I would have liked to win today. Like I think the changes at halftime, and while I understand, take off El Arabi, make sure nothing happens to him ahead of the weekend. Is Larabi really going to start against Panathinaikos? Are we going to play 2 strikers? Isn't Bakambu going to start?
Maybe he wants him as an alternative, wants to make sure he doesn't get injured.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I would have liked to go for the win today. I think it's important, not only for prestige, but just like the fans really needed that tonight. Something like it's really hard. It's really hard to get out of Europe without winning one game, and we haven't won a game since last December.
A European game. Yeah. It's been
no
big games, no big wins yet. Yeah, no big wins yet. Just a quick one, Martial, before I come to you. TF91, you have no idea how much this means. Every Olympiakos fan should only listen to this podcast, even if you don't speak a word in English. This is pure quality, nothing to do with the Greek toxic journalists. Thank you so much for your kind words, TF91. But always remember, this is always about you. This is always for you. And Concept Calcio, Gate 7 International is the best thing about following Olympiakos at the moment. Thank you so much. But like I said, this is always about you. Guys, we're doing this on our downtime. This is, something we do when we're supposed to have a free time. But this is always for you. This is always about the Olympiakos community. And we're absolutely honored to have you guys following us. We have the best fans. Martial, coach's grade.
I would give Mitchell a C because the main limit of Mitchell is I don't understand every change he's doing in every game. As I said earlier on the pod, because Costa with a C wasn't there already, I think at the moment the 5 subs should not be used every time for Olympiakos because the team is very fragile and you have to keep a basis on the team. And taking Vrusai off tonight was a big mistake because him and El Arabi were part of the good first half we had at that time, and those changes, it makes no sense. Avila came in as a winger. He came in to be a right winger for the last minute. Marcelo came in to be a midfielder. it makes no sense. He used Camara to be a winger tonight. At some time, it's really hard to understand what he wants to do. And I kind of agree with one comment I saw earlier about Mitchell not being able to have a full game, a full good game with Olympiakos, because the game against PAOK, you had very interesting moments, but it kind of bottled that game. And it reminds me, if, for example, on Sunday, if we are winning the game in Leoforos, he could take off like James Rodriguez, or he could take off Bakambu too early, maybe. And I'm worried about that because sometimes you just have to let the team play. Like Martin, sometimes he was doing that. Like we were all moaning about that, if you remember. Oh, take off some players, like rest some players or change some players. But if they keep winning, you just have to use them to keep them on the grass. And the thing I would end with one thing is that players that we only prefer to play back-to-back games compared to train. So it doesn't matter if Vrusai played the whole game tonight. He could have played on Sunday. He could have played on Thursday maybe. So I don't get what Mitchell did tonight, and that's why he has a C as a grade.
Well, first of all, we all want to see this Labro versus Takisuka last rand comp. I think that would be excellent content right there. That would, so
much that I would actually look into how to make that happen. Like
easy. Labros calls Tsukalas.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
How many seconds until Tsukalas is at the yard and shuts him down? Anyway,
he's not Greek. He's not Greek. He's not an Olympiakos fan.
He's not Greek.
There aren't any Olympiakos fans outside of Greece. What?
Anyway, I would give Mitchell a B-. I'm not giving him a C, even though this was one of the most embarrassing defeats Olympiakos have ever experienced, especially at the Karaiskaki. I'm gonna give him a B- because he played the seconds. He played a very rotated side. And we saw a very good performance in the first half. I'm pretty sure if we had Bakambu and James in there and Pepiel and Juan, Olympiakos would have won this. Some bad subs at halftime. Vrusai and Larabi coming off for Vrsaliko and Saboudis. But then again, I mean, he was thinking about Panathinaikos. I mean, guys, let's not be mistaken. The game with Panathinaikos is a season decider. If Olympiakos win this is it. First big win of the season. That could change everything. That could be the beginning of Olympiakos' campaign to the title. If they lose, it's over. It's over. And from then on, they need to get something out of Ike, or else they could lose even second place. And that's all the time we have, really, guys. We're almost 1.5 hours in. Guys, any parting words before the big game? This is it. Marcial, let's start with you.
I don't know what to say. One part of me would want this Sunday that will come not to exist, because at the same time, Marseille is playing against Lyon later in the night. So there's a world in which my Monday would be the most tragic Monday of all time. Like I wouldn't be able to wake up in this Monday. I'm so stressed in advance about what could happen on Sunday. So I've written every scenario on my mind, like us winning the game with a late goal, us winning 3-0, Olympiakos losing 3-0 to Panathinaikos, the game not being played entirely due to riots on the stadium and stuff like that, man. Every scenario on my mind, and I'm just waiting for the game to confirm if one scenario is true or not. I'm both worried and excited at the same time. So weird.
Well, Marcial is chilled. How about you, Costa?
I feel like I'm kind of sleepwalking towards that match. It's like I know it's on Sunday, but I can't kind of believe that it is this Sunday. And I really don't know what to expect. I haven't, I imagine Martial's kind of done all the scenarios in his head and been like, oh, if we win 1-0, then, you know, I can go to the office the next day and, you know, face things a little bit different from, a 3-0 and, you know, preparing myself mentally. Honestly, I think, you know, we've seen so much this season and experienced so much disappointment already that I'm going into this game expecting anything from you know, from defeat to victory to a draw, whatever it is. Obviously, you know, the only thing we can hope for is that we go there, we win. And to be honest with you, at this stage as well, I couldn't give a shit. Like I would trade a shit performance to win than making a good performance and not winning.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. You just have to go. You have to go into that game with Sabuka, and you know, tomorrow the fans are going to the training. Is that a good thing, or is it going to put more pressure on them, make them anxious? I don't know. It really, like, this Sunday is so important in so many ways
for
this
them too.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like for this team, for those players, and what they show on Sunday. And I hope tomorrow will really fire them up. I expect one of those. I expect one of those Rizopoli type games. I think the atmosphere over there is going to be
fiery.
Yeah, it's going to be a fiery atmosphere. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be tough atmosphere to play in. But I think we do have players with character that you know, they've experienced those kinds of stadiums before, those kinds of atmospheres. So yeah, anxious, excited, all emotions just, you know, hitting each other right now. And I'm sure I'm going to get super anxious like 30 minutes before kickoff. But for the moment, it still seems far away, even though it's less than 2 days away if you're in Greece.
Well, guys, I mean, like I said, I mean, a win is going to unlock so many things. It's going to unlock it's going to bring a lot of morale for Olympiakos. It's going to be the first big game they win. It's going to be a hellacious atmosphere. So if they manage to win under those kind of circumstances, that could create a better mentality for Olympiakos. And it could also create a complex for Panathinaikos, because that would be their first defeat. And that could kind of make them ask questions. Guys, until then, this is all the time we have. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to grow our channel. You can follow Martial at Olympiakos FR, as well as his wonderful work for La Nouvelle République. You can follow Costa at Olympiakos EU, and you can follow me at Llanos Costas, and follow my work at The Sun. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Costa, Martial, thank you so much for being with us. And guys, of course, our fans, always by our side. We always appreciate you. Onwards and upwards. Sunday's coming. Let's see what happens. Have a great evening, everyone.
Όπου πας εσύ, θα με πάντα εγώ, να σου τραγουδώ.